What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about Palantir. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what's really been moving it and where I see things going from here. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Palantir over this last week did do fairly well. It went up 9.76%, hitting a new 52-week and all-time high of $133.49, bouncing off of a key resistance level. So I'm going to go over technicals near the end of the video, but there was a little bit of a pullback on Friday. So some people are panicking over that. And in case you do not know, this pullback was because of Moody's downgrading the US due to the debt and kind of high interest payment ratios. In reality, it's something to be aware of, but I feel like it is a very good reason to buy the dip, only because similar type of downgrade did occur August 1st, 2023, and that caused the broader market to go down 0.29%. So nothing overly crazy. So I think a lot of people are making a big deal out of this when in reality, it might not be justified. So we'll just have to wait and see how this does play out. But at the end of the day, this week, we don't really have that much in data points. So it is going to be more of a reflection week. You have a lot of Fed speakers on a side note, so that could cause some volatility, but this week is going to be more of a reflection on what has been coming out data point wise, what that means for rate cuts for the foreseeable future, as well as just tariff updates. So I think in general, the market is still very strong and will be continuing to move higher. And then in Palantir's case and many other stocks, it's going to be falling back onto the technicals. And in Palantir's case, that's looking pretty a-okay. So I'm going to go over that in a second, but shorts. So going into this upcoming week, 2.51% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 54.8 million shares overall being shorted. Shorts did return on Friday, 145,000 shares, so definitely positive to see for that. Cost to borrow minimum is negative 0.29%. That's an annual rate, not a daily rate, but the fact that it is negative means that there is some brokers out there physically paying people to short Palantir. So kind of crazy stuff as far as that. So let me know your viewpoint on that. But I feel like Palantir, like the shorts are very scared to double down. Every time they've doubled down, even in times of mass distress, they lose their asses. So Palantir is one of those stocks that you really don't want to bet against. And I think institutions have really learned their lesson, but still a lot of money getting into Palantir through options. Just on Friday, $649 million in calls, 62 million in puts. 48% of all the options being done though were bearish in nature, but huge amount of volume. So 711 million in total premiums, 428 the day prior, 506 the day prior. So it's crazy the amount of money really involving themselves with Palantir. So big money is still buying Palantir up. Based on the options, you are seeing a consensus for, based on the bulls, for it to be kind of between that 140 to 150 for this upcoming week. Bears are anticipating for it to kind of break down to roughly around that 120. So still a lot more upside is anticipated based on at least the options. Elliot wave technicals going into this upcoming week does have a pivot point of $104 and change, and assuming it is able to stay above that, then you can kind of anticipate between 150 to 167. So huge gains is anticipated based on this. And for those of you that have been following my channel, Elliot wave technicals have been exactly like 100% on point. So if it does hit that 167, that would be pretty kick-ass if you ask me, because over the last 1 year, Palantir is up 498%. So even more reason why, obviously, shorts don't want to bet against it, because even during times of pullback, like in February, it's still a beast that does recover far greater than any other growth stock out there. And you can kind of see big money still very much paying attention to it. So these are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So a lot of big money getting in. Dark pool, you see a lot of big transactions. You see clearly some institutions selling after hours on Friday. And that's because of, like I said, this news happened across the board. So a lot of stocks kind of had that level of selling. So 48.4 million in one transaction, 9.1, 2.9, 3.2. So potentially you could see a little bit of a pullback associated to that. But like I said, I feel like bigger picture, it's going to be a screaming buying opportunity this dip, because even when it came down to August 1st, 2023, yes, it did cause the market to go down based on the low 455, high 457. But at the end of the day, though, like even a week after that, people aren't talking about it whatsoever. So this is going to be no different than 1 week from today. People are not going to be talking about this downgrade whatsoever. But aside from that, with it at 129, it is trading between this R2 and this R1. So 133 is going to be that key resistance level, and that's what it kind of bounced off of for the general all-time high. So that's going to be a key level to really watch for this week. And then 121 will be a strong support. I don't see that being touched. Options, the bears are anticipating for it to kind of break below that, but in my opinion, I feel like with it being more of a technical / reflection week, we are going to continue to see higher highs. So 153 will be the next strong target / resistance point, and that is kind of in line with the Elliot wave technicals. No new analyst ratings, so you can kind of see last one was done 4 days ago. That was a buy 150, Bank of America. Analyst has a 72% success rating. Most likely, I would anticipate Daniel Ives to come back and give a little bit higher of a rating, because he's kind of the poster boy of Palantir, in my opinion. And so his rating right now is 140, Wedbush, and then he has a 52% success rating. So all in all, I think a little bit higher highs are anticipated based on like everything, technicals and so forth. But the only negative thing I do want to bring up, which obviously I did bring up in my last video, was the fact that it is and was a little bit overbought. So because of all that volatility, it kind of caused it to get to roughly around 67. So it's somewhat neutral, if not a little bit overbought still. So the first sign of weakness, whether it be broader market or specific to Palantir, you could see a little bit of a pullback. But like I said, 121 being the next strong support, I don't see that being touched, at least in the next little bit, unless something dramatic does change. But all in all, like I said, I think Palantir is one of those stocks that everyone needs to eventually get in. Palantir is like a huge company. It's one of those stocks. It's a beast. And even though a lot of people, including myself, when I first started to kind of really look at it, I didn't understand what the hell they were doing. And I feel like even still, I only probably get a certain grasp of exactly the full potential of what they can do. Just I know it is a massive disruptor. Obviously, Wall Street doesn't understand disruptors and innovative companies such as Palantir. This is why you're seeing kind of the variance in analyst ratings. But all in all, if you want to see massive gains, you need it in your portfolio. So let me know your viewpoint. Do you think that it will be hitting that like 150 to 167 in the short term? Do you think that this is going to cause a significant kind of disruption in the broader market, volatility? Like, what's your general thoughts on Palantir? So yeah, let me know your viewpoint. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Hopefully everyone's having a good weekend. Don't forget to pop over to my Discord, completely free. A lot of good people talking about stocks, options, crypto, everything that you ever need in life. So definitely pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.